Finally! First PvP guide for Dragonflight is here.
Hello.
This is Elemental Shaman time. Isn't that a mistake? I'm your host Ajol and I have no idea who this is. Are you okay? Do you need anything?
I'm good, yeah.
Anyway, this is the first season, and as of today, we'll start making potato guides. I mean PvP guides. So, depending on weather conditions and room temperature IQ, I'm going to cover Elemental Shaman today, not tomorrow. As you know, since the new expansion release, the talent tree has been revamped, and so we'll go through stats, enchants, shaman talents, elemental talents, PvP talents, and some gameplay tips for beginners. With that being said, let's get started. To get gems and enchants out of the way, for weapon you'll want Sophic or Wafting Devotion, or their lower versions. Then you will want to either stack speed or leech. And finally, depending on which haste breakpoints you desire, stack gems accordingly. Yes, I guess that means we'll have to talk about haste breakpoints as well, and global cooldown, and magic! But before we do that, let's try and see what the actual stat priority looks like. First of all, obviously, we have versatility, which is basically on every single PvP item. So it's not much of a choice. After that, it's crazy people choice.
I know.
You can either go haste until a certain breakpoint, and then mastery, and then critical strike chance, or the other way around, or balance them out. It's more of a personal preference. However, I would do it like this. Get 11% or 21% haste, and then stack as much mastery as possible. Haste breakpoints affect your global cooldown, reduce your cast time, and give you extra flame shock ticks. So the basic global cooldown is 1.5 seconds with 0% haste. Once you reach 3.5% haste, you get 1.4 seconds global cooldown. After that, 11% haste will get you to 1.3 seconds global cooldown, and then 21% haste will get you to 1.2 seconds global cooldown, and so on. You get the idea. This also means that every percentage in between is kind of wasted stats, because more or less you get nothing. However, keep in mind that along with lower global cooldown, you get faster casts and more flame shock ticks, which is very important. Everything works very well together with the talents that we will be covering very soon. Before we move on to talents, remember to also buy the Infurious Boots or whatever item you desire to get the 5% extra crowd control reduction. What the... Talents! Shaman talents.
Shaman.
Let's go!
Let's do it.
This is how your standard shaman talents should look like. Perfect. Guide complete. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Joking. There are, of course, some minor variations depending on different situations. Plains Traveler versus Astral Bulwark. You take one or the other, mostly depending on the enemy offensive cooldowns. For example, versus Avatar or the Hunt, you will most likely get Plains Traveler to match the cooldown and have the extended duration. How? On the other hand, if you want to match it with your own trinket and get extra damage reduction, just get Astral Bulwark. Ask him. Take Cleanse Spirit versus other Shaman or Warlocks. Otherwise, you don't need it. Greater Purge versus Purge is mostly dependent on how many global cooldowns you can afford to waste.
Yes.
On Purge. You might also not need Hex if, for example, you're up against a team with two classes that can decurse. It then becomes a wasted talent, and you should not take it. Also, if you're into stacking Leech, you might want to try Ancestral Defense. Having around 5% Leech on a crazy DPS like Elemental Shaman might be interesting. Now, with great sorrow, we have to move to the Elemental tree. First thing you might notice is that this looks like an actual Christmas tree.
Yes.
Funny. Anyway, this is how your standard elemental talents should look like. While moving through this tree, we'll also talk about how elemental shaman damage works, and while there is no actual rotation in PvP, there are some priorities and rules that we have to keep in mind. We must obey the rules. I'm a personal fan of Ancestral Wolf Affinity. Being able to wind shear purge or throw totems while running around in Ghost Wolf looks amazing. Amazing, but not always needed in my opinion. However, this talent helps if you need to kite a lot. Power of the Maelstrom, this is an overlooked talent. Lining this up with a Stormkeeper will send your target into the release spirit land. Ha! I don't think you need more than 1 point in this talent, and of course I don't think it's a mandatory talent. However, I recommend you always take. Another option you can play around if you feel you need more Maelstrom is the Searing Flames talent. Again, I don't think you need more than 1 point in this talent, and again, I don't think it's 100% necessary. Now let's talk about some of these talents and how elemental works overall. First rule about Flame Shock is we never talk about Flame Shock.
Never.
Wait, wrong text. Ah, there it is. Apply and keep Flame Shock on as many targets as possible. I cannot stress this enough. Pets, players, coconuts, anything that moves must have Flame Shock on it. Consider Flame Shock as your source of power. It's the backbone of your entire build, and it's weaved in so many talents. You just have to abuse it. Fire Elemental makes your Flame Shock tick faster and last twice as long. Flames of the Cauldron reduces the cooldown of your Flame Shock and Flame Shock ticks faster. Magma Chamber makes your Flame Shock build damage towards your next Earth Shock. Skybreaker's Fiery Demise makes your Flame Shock have 50% increased critical strike chance, and every time it crits, the cooldown of your fire elemental is reduced. Control of Lava makes your Flame Shock tick faster. Haste increases the number of Flame Shock ticks. Lava Surge gives you Flame Shock a chance to reset Lava Burst and make it instant. Amazing!
Amazing, great!
Primordial Wave, one of our main burst components, applies Flame Shock and makes your next Lava Burst hit all targets affected by Flame Shock.
Wow. 1, 2, 3.
Deeply Rooted Elements, when this procs, it will cast Lava Burst at all of your targets affected by Flame Shock. You get the idea. Flame Shock is the bread and butter, or the butter without the bread. I like butter, I don't like bread. Another important talent I want to talk about is Master of the Elements.
I like everything.
And how you weave damage with this. Basically, after each Lava Burst, you always want to cast a spell from another school. Lava Burst into Earth Shock, Lava Burst into Frost Shock, Lava Burst into Instant Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst into Lightning Lasso, Lava Burst into Chicken Fingers. Doing this will always make your next spell hit 20% harder. Also, after each Earth Shock, you want to try as hard as possible to cast Lava Burst to make sure you reset your Fire Elemental faster through the Surge of Power talent. Remember, you want your Fire Elemental present for as long as possible. Not only is doing a lot of damage on its own, but it makes your Flame Shock on steroids. Whenever you want to burst, you want to make sure you have Stormkeeper or Primordial Wave available, or both. Remember, Elemental Shaman is mostly about constant pressure, but the burst is there, and it's crazy. The only thing it lacks is a heal debuff and better survivability. Other than that, you're a release spirit potato cannon shooting god. PvP talents, not much to talk about here. Control of Lava, Unleash Shield, Grounding Totem, Static Field Totem, Seasoned Winds, and even Sky Fury Totem are very good options. Control of Lava is always there, you can't play without this. But
impossible.
after that, just mix the PvP talents according to your situation. Relax, I'll give you a few examples. Versus a melee cleave in 3v3, you should pick Unleash Shield and Static Field Totem. This will help you a lot to kite the enemy burst. Remember that the route from Unleash Shield is on a different diminishing return than regular routes like the ones from Earth Grab Totem. Another niche example would be if you're up against a Shadow Priest and an Affliction Warlock. Go ahead and pick Grounding Totem and Seasoned Winds. Since both of them are doing shadow damage, you will get insane value from the Seasoned Winds talent. I don't have other examples because I'm low on memory, you can tell. With that being said, my good friends, this guide is complete. I really hope you found the information within this guide very useful. Links to my armory and to the talent build are in the description below. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, please use the commentary section below. And I will do my best to answer as soon as possible. If you want all of my Shaman macros or you just want to chat, consider joining the Discord channel. Link will be in the description below. However, by the time you will click on it, the link might be expired because we are also streaming every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here on YouTube. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe by pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed the guide, and we will see each other in the next video. Peace!
Peace!